XCN, XYO, QNT to 0? Probably not, but this is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil, where we keep technical analysis short and sweet, always starting with Bitcoin. In my other video, we talked about how this was following this pattern almost identical. Are we possibly going to have a further shakeout? Yes, that is possible. For those of you who are new to crypto, you're in for a wild ride to see everything that you invested potentially be down 50% only to retrace back up the next few days. So it's good to keep calm and know that this bull market for Bitcoin as well as the altcoin season is not over. For the altcoin season, it has not fully started, but just keep all that in mind. Spell, trying to get over that 200 EMA still. Once we get over that 200 EMA, and this downward trend line, we are looking at an entry point on that, not financial advice. CTSI, another one I brought up, moving way beyond the 200 EMA, potentially touching down back around this area, around 6.5 cents. But we could see a little bit of a volume pickup around this area and a quick retracement back towards this previous area, being around 11 cents. Just keep that one on the radar. IOTX, still in consolidation, trying to hold above that black upward trend line and the 618 Fibonacci retracement. Even with Bitcoin pulling back, this is still in consolidation, flirting with the 200 EMA. We just need to push up over it, hold, and break above this 0.035 cents before we start seeing IOTX take off. Tornado can be traded on MEXC. The reference is in the description below, but this upward yellow trend line is kind of what we are looking at for support. We are getting wedged in between this yellow line and this black downward trend line. Once we get over that and the 200 EMA is getting a little closer, if this breaks and holds, Tornado Cash will take off, but it's been in consolidation upwards for a very long time, which is actually kind of in reference to XCN, which I will talk about in a little bit. But in reverse, Dogecoin, 21 cents is the strong support, and pretty much anywhere within this range, it's just in consolidation, but this is a good entry around 21. If it holds above the 200 EMA, volume's picking up, everything's looking good on Doge, but it is a meme coin. Aerodrome. This is getting a lot of support from the CM Guppy right at that 50 mark. Had that major bullish movement, even with the market and a decreasing price with Bitcoin. This is still rejecting and pushing up off this downward trend line, off the CM Guppy in upward momentum. But I believe we're going to still see some consolidation and then get this 200 EMA a little bit closer before Aerodrome finally takes off. But it is up over 80%. Yeah, I believe 80%. And moving on to Compound. Forming higher lows still, even though it did this liquidity sweep, grabbed everybody who was selling right below this area, and then got some support above this previous high. And we can expect this to start pushing back and testing this 200 EMA yet again. If that does fail, the next low would be down here at 38, but that is doubtable even with Bitcoin pushing down. I don't believe we're going to see that low. I think Compound is bottoming out at this upward trend line, but this is not financial advice in any way. And Compound has a very strong all-time high. QNT, 200 EMA, support. 200 EMA again, support. Even with Bitcoin's pullback, this is about, say you entered around 124, anywhere from 15 to 18% down. However, 18% down is very little for the percent up that we will see happen very, very quickly. That 200 EMA is very strong. We just need a little bit more volume. But if you are holding QNT, know that you need to have an exit plan. I believe we could be pushing up to around 220 potentially before people selling off and having a retracement. So keep in mind, just holding onto the coin, waiting out the entire ride is one option. But if you sell at around 220, just a small portion, you could always rebuy a little bit lower and stack some more coins that you were not able to stack at a lower price when we had all these opportunities in between here. So, just take everything with a grain of salt, I guess. But we are seeing that this is holding support on that 200 EMA. I believe we may see a little bit more consolidation. Bitcoin may drop once again and then get some major support. So we may see it push below that 200 EMA before getting some support, pushing back up, and then breaking back up towards this 125 area for QNT. BNT, and then I'll do XCN. BNT, cleared double top, had that major push down, trying to hold support on this black upward trend line. If that does not hold, we may be pushing through the CM guppy. However, last time we did get some support down here. We did come all the way back through whenever we had a previous double top. Came back through the CM guppy and the 200 EMA, which is down here at the 618 Fibonacci retracement. If Bitcoin has a dump, it may affect this for momentarily before getting that major retracement back up and above this previous high. XCN. XCN is looking bearish. I'm not going to lie, I am bullish, but it does look bearish. We have that major downward trend line that needs to be broken. If you have not entered XCN, that is a major area you'd want to be looking for a buy if we were able to hold. However, we could be pushing lower as this would be more of a liquidity sweep, taking a lot of those sellers out and getting a bunch of buyers to buy in on this upward trend line. We may see something that could be potentially even inverse head and shoulders, where you have the left shoulder here, and then you have a head that goes a little bit further, comes back up, touches right shoulder, and then break to the upside. That is a possibility. I'm not going to say it's not. Anything is really possible in crypto. I don't believe that XCN is going to be going to zero. There are a lot of holders. There's a lot of utility behind this. We are just waiting for some things to play out for XCN to get that major push. As the last time we made it down to this area, there was a bunch of buyers and had that major, I believe it was over 200% increase in price. And that would be pushing us back up towards this downward trend line that needs to be broken to start seeing that new all-time high. XYO, consolidating, building up on this upward trend line, getting pretty tired of this 200 EMA. We have some pretty strong rejection points, but we've seen that all along this area where it's got a lot of wicking off at the top and then ultimately pushes up. XCO or XYO is definitely a time bomb. You've had a lot of opportunity to get in, and I actually want to compare XYO, looking at that pattern, to DIMO. DIMO is this one. And as you see, in 2 days, it was up 130%. 130% in 2 days on DIMO. I remember back in the day, we saw something very similar to what XYO is doing. And actually, this is the cup and handle pattern that was happening in the daily. We had the major cup, the handle, and then in 1 day, a major pump up. And that one pump in 1 day, about 100%, followed by another 63%, followed by a continuation all the way up to nearly 85 cents. DIMO is now at a low, and DIMO, comparing this to what XCN is doing, just take a look at this XYO. XYO, DIMO. Zoom out, XYO, DIMO. Once we get over that 200 EMA, we start seeing some major bullish movement. So XYO, once we get over that 200 EMA, we will start seeing some major bullish movement, and not just like this previous high, like way up there, this previous high and beyond for XYO. DNT and GRT are the last two. DNT similar, very, very similar to XYO and DIMO. So with everything off this chart, bringing back XYO, strong bottom, consolidation, testing the 200 EMA, strong bottom down here, testing 200 EMA, just needs to get over it before ultimately pushing up, as we also broke this black downward trend line. Had that major push up. You could consider this a tiny cup and handle, where it's got the cup and then it trickles out, gets a little exhausted, and then breaks over this previous high up towards the 0.0538 and beyond for district aux. And that is my opinion on that one. That one's, if you haven't got in on DNT, it's definitely a good bet. It's consolidating, but if you're diversifying, it's a good one to diversify into. But none of this is financial advice. And same with GRT, we need to get above that 200 EMA still. We tested it in the previous videos, but it did not break and hold. And so we need to break over that, which is probably going to be around the 10 to 11 cent mark. That's it for this video. All the references are in the description below. Like and subscribe if you want. Good luck. Have fun with it.